Oh, hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and I'm here to show you guys my Lightsworn Zombie Danger 50 card mill deck that I have been playing for the current format. And I just took this to my locals. I went 2-3 with it, and the deck was really good. Like, I really like the combos that it can do and the end boards that it can end on. I ended up losing to Double Torrential round 1, which kind of sucks, and then Flunderies is just a really bad matchup for this deck, so that's something I need to learn how to beat and basically just play more around. Losing the die roll also just doesn't help. But other than that, the deck is really good. I really like what this deck does. A lot of inspiration from this deck does come from Max Reynolds. He did get, I think, 1st or 2nd with this deck, and a lot of the cards I did copy from him, I just ended up adding more because I just thought like 40 cards wasn't enough. So I just added 50 more, or not 50 more cards. Well, that's just not legal. I added about 10 more cards to the list just to make this a lot more fun and play like a bunch of cards that I just haven't played in a long time. And I'll go over those more when I get to the actual profile. But without further ado, before we get into the list, I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to my locals, Top Choice Gaming here in Colton, California. A lot of the cards that you see in this profile did come from them. And yeah, if you could go ahead and show them some love, either on TCG Player or on Facebook and Instagram, go ahead and check them out. That is Top Choice Gaming. And yeah, that's really it. So before we do also jump into the deck profile, I want to say that this is not a budget deck. I mean, there are budget alternatives that you can do, but if you want to have the more bang for your buck, you want to be able to, that you're playing something kind of like this. It does play cards like Halqifibrax, Savage Dragon, basically a lot of expensive cards in the format. But if you want to break from 60 card pile, 10 BS crap, whatever it is, like if you want to break from it, definitely play this. I think it's a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and get into the list, shall we? Starting with the Lightsworn component, we are playing 3 copies of Raiden. It is your best normal summon in the deck, other than like Unizombie. But for the Lightsworn monsters, definitely Raiden is the best card. 3 copies of Wolf. It's been a while since I've done this. 1 copy of Felice. 1 Lumina and 1 Baby Minerva. This is something that Max wasn't playing in his list. He wasn't playing Lumina or the Baby. And I think these cards were actually really good. I did side out Lumina a lot though. I didn't think it was that good going 2nd. So this did get sided out quite a bit, as well as like a copy of Wolf. Maybe 2 copies depending on what the matchup was. But I think the 9 Lightsworns are really good because I do play Solar Recharge in this list. Minerva acts as just an extra mill. Basically when it's sent, you get to mill an extra card, so you can send it with Recharge, or you can mill it off of a Lightsworn or your Chaos Ruler, whatever it is. But the other cool thing is that it's a tuner, so you can summon this off of Halqifibrax, and then you can Synchro for your Riser Dragon, and then just get your plays going from there. But that's it for the Lightsworns. Moving on, we have our zombie component. We do play 3 copies of Solitaire, 1 Spirit Master, double Unizombie, and then triple Mizuki. So this engine was also really good, and oh, I should show this too. I play a Plague Spreader as well. This engine was actually really good. I never ended up siding out any of these cards just because they were so like crucial to the end boards, and they're actually really freaking good this format. Solitaire probably being the worst one because it does get hit by Valor Imperm a lot. But if you can resolve Solitaire, you're honestly probably getting really far in that game, because this is definitely one of the best cards to resolve in the deck. Unizombie is honestly just as broken too. Plague Spreader, you use this for when you make your Halqifibrax. If it's already in the graveyard, that's when you would be summoning your Baby Minerva. But this card's really good. Being able to summon it off Halqifibrax is even better, because then you get the level 2 to make your Baronne de Fleur. And then worst comes to worst, if it's in the graveyard, you can just put a card back on top and then just use it that way. I won't go over the other ones though. They are really broken. If you played Shiranui Lightsworn back in the day, you should know what these all do. The Solitaire especially, this card's broken. It just becomes an extra interruption during your opponent's turn with Snow. Moving on to the next engine, we play the Dangers. So this is where it gets like a little heavy. 1 Jackalope, 1 Tsuchinoko, 3 Mothman, 3 Chupacabra, 3 Nessie. I honestly forgot this card was at 3, and then 3 Bigfoot. So these actually get you very, very far. I got hit by an Artifact Scythe, and I was able to just kill my opponent because I drew Dangers. And like, these cards do so much for you. It's actually insane. Bigfoot being the better one probably, just because you use this to make your zombie vampire. I'm gonna try and change this lighting. There you go. So you use this to make your zombie vampire to get you extra cards in the graveyard, and it's also just a really broken card because if you have this in Plague Spreader, you can use this to make Burn to Flora as well. But and it's just a 3K beater, so I can't really complain too much about Bigfoot. Nessie being able to search any one of these, Chupacabra being really good because it's a level 4, and then you can also special summon any one of these back from the graveyard, so that's also really broken too. That's why Bigfoot is so important. If you see Bigfoot Chupacabra, you're in a really good spot. But that's going to be it for the dangers. I shouldn't have to explain the other ones. They are really good. And then for basically just like some extra support one-ofs, we play the 1 Zephyros. This card's insane paired with any danger, just being able to keep abusing the power of them. Trick Clown for extra mill power. Token Collector was an interesting one. This one was actually really good. I played against Lair of Darkness. Sorry, Gilbert. Played against the Lair of Darkness, and this card actually came up a couple times, but this is mainly for just any Brave deck running around, being able to stop them from going into it. It's also really good against Sword Soul as well, because you can activate this in the graveyard, and it's really good. Like, I just really like that I played this card. I wasn't going to play it, but I'm glad I did. 1 Gyrex, because if you banish this with Snow or Goldsark, then you get it as a extra body, so that's really cool. Destrudo, I don't know how this card is off the ban list, but I'm glad it is nonetheless. And then Fairy Tale Snow, the real reason why we're playing Lightsworn, because if you don't have Snow, this deck sucks. I mean, it's still not the most competitive deck, but it is really fun to play. So that's it for the monsters. I believe it's like 30-something monsters. Moving on to the spells. Triple Charge of the Light Brigade. This card gets your engine going. You get the 3 in the graveyard for cost, and then you search your Lightsworn. A lot of people don't know that. Or at least a lot of new players don't know that. And granted, I understand why. This is an old card, but this card's really good. Pair it off with Solar Recharge. If you see Solar Recharge charge, you're getting so far ahead of the game. So you definitely want to max out on these. Going second, I basically side off the Recharge because this gets eaten with a negate anyway. So I basically just side these out every time. I just want to resolve it my game ones, turn ones. But other than that, that's really that. For one of spells, we play 1 Rhoda. Raiden is a warrior, so this is just another way of getting you to Raiden. 1 Metal's Foe of Fusion. This card is also really cool in this deck because since you are a slot machine based deck, you're milling cards, and if you mill Metal Foe of Fusion, then you can just recycle a card, and it makes it to where you never deck out, so that's really cool. 1 Monster Reborn, just for some power one-ofs. Gold Sarcophagus, and the Foolish Burial. Gold Sarc I really like in this deck because going second, it acts as a form of interruption by banishing the Solitaire to, or not the Solitaire, banishing the Spirit Master to get a pop on your opponent, basically to just eat a negate. So that's really cool. We do play 50 cards in the main deck, so that's going to wrap up the main deck. For the we'll go side deck because it's not really that important. This is probably just like a this is really similar to Max's list, so it's going to be very basic. 3 Lancia, shouldn't have to explain that too much. It's one of the better cards of the format. Pankratops, I really just didn't know what to make this extra spot, so I just played the 1 Pank. Feather Duster and Triple Twin Twister to deal with back row decks. I did want to respect them because I have been playing Eldritch on my locals, and a lot of people are expecting me to play Eldritch as well. But I surprisingly only played the 1, and I didn't see any of these cards against them, so that kind of sucks. But it's Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 Dark Ruler No More. This card's really busted. When you go second and see this, you're probably beating your opponent. This is really good against Flunder. I basically sided in these 6 cards every time for Flunder. Other than that, that was really it. I think I sided Twin too, but I don't think that was the right call. We do play 3 Evenly Match as well. This was also really good, but I mean, I shouldn't have to explain it. Evenly Match is probably one of the best side deck staples that you can play in the game right now. And then the last card I played to also respect trap decks was Red Reboot. As much as I hate when people use this card against me, I just had to do it to them. So that's it for the side deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we do play the Savage Dragon. Again, I do apologize, budget players. This extra deck is basically the same as Max Reynolds' list. The 1 Savage, the 1 Chaos Ruler, 1 Baron de Flor. I do feel bad if you don't own this card. This card's really good. You don't always make it, but when you do, it's insane. One Riser Dragon, this is what gets you your Snow in the graveyard. This is what gets you Metal Flows Fusion. Basically, basically any card that you need in the graveyard, Riser gets you to it. It's basically another Curious without the mill 3 effect. And it's also a tuner, so you can use this effect, send something to the grave, and then make a Halqifibrax with it. So it's really cool. It's a really great card to have in this deck. Definitely glad I played it. One Dweller, one Minerva, and one Zombie Vampire. Basically, the reason to play these decks right now is Minerva and Vampire. What this card does, it's a new card from Battles of Chaos. So Zombie Vampire reads that you can detach a material, mill 4 cards, both you and your opponent, and if there was a monster sent by that effect, you can special summon one of those monsters. I didn't use the effect to summon from my opponent because I wasn't sure if you can do it, just because I didn't read the full effect of the card. But if you can, broken. If not, it's fine. I ended up summoning a Raiden or like a Danger basically most of the time off of this. Sometimes Unizombie. I think I hit a Unizombie once. That was really clean. But this card gets you really far, and this card's really great to play. Minerva's Minerva. I mean, I drew a couple cards off of Minerva. That was insane. But moving on to the links, we do play Halqifibrax. Shouldn't really have to explain that. This card's busted, and I do feel bad for the price point that it's at. Really needs a reprint, but still broken nonetheless. Masquerena, you end on this to make your Nightmare package, depending on whatever your opponent's doing. One Dark Charmer, this is really good for going for game. I did bring back an Anaconda and made an access code during the tournament, so that was cool. That was a really cool interaction. One Nightmare Phoenix and one Nightmare Unicorn, exactly the same thing. It's just generic removal. You want to have some removal in the extra deck because since you're not playing in the main deck, you want to make sure you have something to deal with your opponents game 1. So I just thought Phoenix and Unicorn were basically the most generic ones that you could do. And then one Curious, busted. I am so glad to play this card. It is so easy to make with the Dangers, and you should be making it every turn. And then we play the Apollosa and the Access Code Talker. But other than that, that's going to do it for the deck profile. I really do like this deck. I think I'm going to keep playing it for the current format just because I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, Lightsworn is one of my favorite decks of all time. It's up there with True Draco and ABC. But I did have a real blast playing this. I was really bored with the format. I mean, I have been playing Eldritch for like the last few months. Basically, it gave me like a Phantom Knight vibe with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, both of those decks are really good right now. Especially with Skill Drain at 3. Like, that's, I don't know how the hell that happened. But I did have a lot of fun. I do encourage you guys to try this list. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out Max Reynolds' list on YouTube. I mean, if you just look at Max Reynolds Lightsworn, it should just pop up. But yeah, he did really well with it. I didn't do as well, unfortunately, but I also didn't play the exact same list, so that could be it, or I'm just not as good as he is. You know, pro players, they have that effect. But yeah, guys, this has been Papa, and I will catch you all in my next video. Take care, everyone.